Okay, Swissvale, afternoon of August 17th. What you are looking at on the left is the former Westinghouse air brake office building, or offices. Westinghouse had an air brake factory right next to the offices building there, and it employed in its day thousands and thousands of people. And if you're wondering, Westinghouse, yes, this is 7 miles outside Pittsburgh. It is that Westinghouse, all right, like that Carnegie, like that Mellon, like that Frick. Okay, so yeah, Westinghouse had an air brake factory there, and on that left there today is the office building, and the office building is has a number of things in the offices today, from the town center there, which is a shopping mall there kind of thing, as well as other offices, doctors and the such. But at one time, that area right there was full of men and women with a lot of money to spend. Up here in downtown Swissvale, PA. Bruce Springsteen wrote a song that he put on his River album, and if I can paraphrase, from 1977, 78 or so, from the album The River, and the song Independence Day, it goes something like, Papa, go to bed now, because it's getting late, and there's nothing that we can do now. There's just different people coming down here now, and they see things in different ways, and we couldn't change it, even if we wanted to somehow. It's been 40 years since I walked these streets of downtown Swissvale as a high school student and as a junior high student of the Catholic system over there at St. Anselm. But yeah, there's been a lot of changes to the town here, and Westinghouse is gone now. All of the mills along the Monongahela are gone now. West Homestead plants are gone now. The Carey furnaces. You know, what they salvaged from the street is a museum, which I give tours to and through. What's left of that dinosaur. Thankfully, they were able to save it before the street took the entire building, but there's tours now through it, and it is a beauty to behold what is left of a time and age that is long gone here, and is really reflected very much so in this town of Swissvale, PA. Let me show you around the town, at least that I knew when I was here 40 years ago, and show you some of the highlights now of what were then and see what is now. Let's see. There was a place called the Record Hut, and it may have been, no, it was on this it was on this side. I'm just wondering whether it's this building here or whether it was this building. Yeah, with the awning. Thank you. So there was the Record Hut here Okay, and it was the only record store in town that I can remember, but it was to a junior high school boy, a teenage boy in high school who loved music. It was a church, and two guys, privately owned, and they knew everything about music. And of course I was learning, and I was growing, and I was discovering, but I could go in there after hearing any song on the radio and say, and of course I knew no title. I'd go in and start singing part of the song, like, hey, have you got the new Jim Croce song? It goes something like this. And they'd say, oh yeah, it's this or that. And I'd buy the single for $1. This, I don't know if I can get this on film. I don't know if the camera will pick it up or not. This is a Swissvale Trust Company. Now, this goes back before my time. Okay, it was a bank for a very long time. When I knew it as a bank, it was Mellon Bank. Yes, the Mellon Bank. And it was out of this building that I got my student loans that paid for my education at the University of Pittsburgh. This used to be a Mellon Bank. Swissvale Trust before my time. But Mellon took it over, bank, and it was out of this building that I got all my student loans to live and to pay for my college education. Today it's a child care center. Okay, and there's no sign of any kind of financial thing happening there anymore. I read recently in the paper, the local paper here, that a guy I knew from high school here in Swissvale had moved back into town, had moved back into Swissvale, and he was opening up a submarine shop. He was opening up a hero shop, a grinder shop, a hoagie shop, all right, here in downtown Swissvale. And his name was Bob Portugallo, and I knew him from high school. And he had been out of town for years and years and years, and was coming back and, gonna try his luck at the old hometown. So the other night when I went through town to look for like Bob Portugallo's sub shop, I couldn't find it here. I was like, oh, what, it's like I could have swore I read it, but I couldn't find it anywhere here. Well, I looked it up today, and it seems that Bob was one time here and then left. He folded up and moved his submarine shop to Braddock or somewhere else, okay, after a year here. I mention that because Veltri's Pizza, okay, if there is one thing, one entrepreneur, one restaurant, one bar that really was a mainstay in Swissvale, downtown Swissvale, it was Veltri's Pizza. And they left. Okay, so after 38 years, but they left a forwarding address for anybody interested. Yeah, so a lot of people, families got their names here by starting like a pizza place or, something of the sort. And it says a lot when they cannot even survive now here in Swissvale, that they have to move to another town to continue. It's a loss of not only a business, of course, but also heritage and family. Okay, some kind of foundation, if you will, legacy. One legacy that has survived is Swissvale Bolorama. There it is. God love them. They've been around forever, and from what I'm hearing, they're still going strong here. Swissvale Bolorama. I bowled there a number of times. My youngest sister won a number of tournaments there as a bowling ace, you know, Scotch doubles and such. They were just featured in the local paper as a success here in here on Noble Street in downtown Swissvale. Okay, moving uptown, further uptown now, is Homans Cleaners. Now, unfortunately, they too have closed, but in my day, they were notable. And they were notable because what they used to do is they used to launder the uniforms of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And they would have the Pirates uniforms hanging in the window there. And, you know, that was, I mean, it was great to go by them because you could see, you know, whose uniform they had just cleaned and you know, and it was quite a sight to see. It was after the Pirates had moved into Three Rivers, and they had the new uniforms with the new looks on them. And yeah, but sad to see they have closed too. Across the street is a mainstay that has survived here, Murray's Cafe. And that's a cafe that 40 years ago was there, and it's still here today, 40 years later. Now, you could say what you want about Murray's Cafe, but the thing about it is that you could count the number of bars that have gone through this city, and there have been many, 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 many bars that opened and shut in this town. Okay, it's a risky business. Okay, and in a downtown like this that once had nothing for the most part but bars and pizza places, it's a nod to Murray's Cafe that 40 years later they're still here. All the other bars are gone. Now, why they call it a cafe, I don't know. I've never quite understood why that is, but it's called a cafe. I've never seen anywhere else in this country where really what is a bar is called a cafe. Okay. Finally, we come to the end of the street here, end of Noble here, and you have Masters Hardware. And I don't know the name of it. The business might have gone out of business. The name, brand might have gone out of business. But I know that that hardware store has been there, or was there 40 years ago. And 40 years later, as I come to the end of the downtown area here, it's still a hardware store. Okay, and it's nice to see. There you have the police station and the city council hall right there at the end of Noble Street in downtown Swissvale.